everybody, it's me, Alexa, and today we're going to be talking about the 2016 Hollywood film Lights Out. Really quick before we jump into this video, I want to give a special thank you to our sponsor, The Coldest Water. They're sponsoring this video, and I've been using this bottle for about a week now. I really enjoy it, been drinking it, used it on my 16-hour car ride that I went on this past weekend, and it came in super handy, kept my water cold, and nice, easy to screw off and on lid, so it's easy to have in my cup holder, screw it off, take a quick sip, screw it back on. Easy, simple, perfect for my long car ride, and it fit perfectly in my cup holder because these fit in 99% of cup holders. So I really am genuinely enjoying this water bottle and would recommend buying it if you're looking to buy a water bottle. And if you are looking to and want to go with this brand, we have a code GW&Co that you can use to get 10% off. Or maybe you're not looking to buy one, there's also a free giveaway that you can sign up for. The giveaway is available worldwide as well as their shipping, so make sure to go check that out. The giveaway is for a 1-gallon water bottle. All you gotta do is enter your email address and you're up to win that $129 value prize. All right, enough about that. Let's talk about Lights Out. All right, so Lights Out is directed by David F. Sandberg and based on the short film that he made of the same name. He wrote the short film, but this feature film version was actually written by Eric Heiserer, I'm really not sure how to say his name, and it's also starring Teresa Palmer as well as Maria Bello, Gabriel Bateman, and Alexander D. Perzia. So I was quite a big fan of this movie. By the way, this will be a mostly spoiler-free review. Same with all my other ones. If I do say anything about spoilers, I'll make sure you have a warning and give you a time to skip ahead to, but I should be able to say everything I want to say without giving anything away. If you like horror movies, this is definitely one to put on that watch list if you've not seen it. The only people who I wouldn't recommend this movie to are people who are scared of the dark. Fun fact about me, totally random, not relevant at all, I'm scared of the dark. I'm not like horribly scared. I sleep with the lights off at night and stuff. I don't have like a night light or anything. This one makes you want to not turn off the light at night, you know, gives you those little heebie-jeebies as you go to flip the switch. But that's also one of the reasons that makes this movie so good, is it utilizes this concept that is something that a lot of people are scared of to some extent, because it's not so much being scared of the dark, but like being scared of what you can't see, like what's lurking in the shadows. I think everyone at some point in their life has had some sort of fear of that. Like you hear a noise, or maybe there's some weird shape that you see late at night or something, and you're like, okay, what's that? And so all of us have that innate fear of the stuff that we are unable to see. And I think that this movie plays on that so well, because it creates it so when it is dark, it's the only time you can kind of see it, but all you can see is a silhouette, so you have no idea what it is exactly. And so it creates this air of mystery, and you're like, why is it only there in the dark? Why can't it come into the light? And it just creates so much like anticipation and fear as you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on, what is this thing, that I found it really engaging. I was very scared the whole time. This is one of the scarier movies that I've seen in a while, like where I felt genuinely like, So the overall story of the movie, we follow Rebecca, who's played by Teresa Palmer, as well as her mother, Sophie, played by Maria Bello, and the son, Martin, who is played by Gabriel Bateman, and also Rebecca's boyfriend, Brett, who's played by Alexander de Perzia. So the mom character, Sophie, has a few mental issues that make her and Rebecca have a very estranged relationship, and they're starting to affect Martin's life as well while he's there with the mother. So Rebecca tries to step in and help out her younger half-brother, and help him, and also help her mother, who is struggling with her mental illnesses. And in this pursuit of trying to help each other, there's also this kind of monster lurking in the dark who they have to figure out what it is, how to stop it. And that's kind of the overall premise of the movie without giving away too much. Everyone in this movie did an absolutely amazing job at their roles, and my absolute favorite thing about this movie was how smart every character's choices were. Nothing gets me more annoyed than when there's a horror movie and people just continually make stupid decisions. So to see these characters making such smart decisions all throughout, they made a couple smaller like stupid decisions, but they weren't necessarily stupid. There were decisions that I could see people making in their situation, and so I wasn't like too upset about them. And then there were some really smart moments. Like there were some moments where they made some choices where I was like, I would have been so dead if I was in that situation. There's one moment in particular, I'm told by people who saw it in theaters that when it happened that people like actually applauded. This was my very first time seeing the movie, so I was just by myself. in a mostly dark room. I thankfully had a little bit of light coming through my curtains because they're a bit too thin, but because I think I would have been really terrified if I was in complete darkness, or even more terrified rather. So I didn't have anyone else's reactions alongside me as I was watching, but I was told that in theaters there's one moment where people applauded, so I was kind of watching the movie waiting for that to come. So when it did, I texted Sri, who'd been the one to tell me that, and I was like, is this the moment? Is this what happened whenever people applauded? And he replied, yes. So it's just this really great moment where you're like, that is such a smart thing to do. I would not have even crossed my mind if I was in your situation. And that made me just like, that alone, plus all the other smart choices the character made me really like this movie. Because I mean, yeah, I think that everyone can agree that's one of the most frustrating things in any movie, whether it be horror or any other genre, whenever the characters just keep making stupid decisions to like further the plot or add to the fear of it if it is horror, or add to the drama, etc. That's something that really gets on my nerves, and so to have a movie where characters are constantly making like smarter decisions than I would even necessarily think of is so refreshing and nice, and I really enjoyed that about the movie. I also want to give a shout out to the guy who played Martin. It's a very young kid, and he did a spectacular job with all the emotions, especially sometimes where he like makes very scared faces, and his expressions are really powerful and like it convey the emotions extremely well. I also really love that in all of this director David F. Sandberg's movies, he's only had 3 feature films so far. This was his very first one actually, and then he did Annabelle Creations, and he just recently did the Shazam movie, all of which I really like. I'm very impressed, especially the fact this is his first feature film. We'll talk a little bit more. I really love his whole story arc. So he always makes sure to put his wife in all of his movies, Lota. I always say her name wrong. But he always puts his wife into all of his movies, and that's because how he actually started was making short films on a YouTube channel with her. So he'd have her act in them, and then he'd do the cinematography and he'd be the director, help write it, and do all the editing, everything himself, and with a bit of her help. So it's really incredible that even now that he's starting to become a much bigger name, obviously he's had some really big hits so far with just 3 films, and to still put her in it, she always has a little cameo, and it just always makes me smile. I think that's really cute and sweet. Speaking of his YouTube channel though, there are some really, really cool behind the scene videos of this movie. I'm gonna leave links to those in the description below, because if you've seen this movie, definitely watch them. I found them super fascinating. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't even realize when watching the movie that I learned through the behind the scenes videos. But do not watch them if you've not seen the movie, because they contain major spoilers. So watch the movie if you haven't yet, and then go watch these behind the scenes. So one thing that I really liked about the movie when watching it, it seemed like every single shot was so purposeful and like so well thought out. And then also seeing the behind the scenes, literally David walked around the entire house and like planned every single shot. And so it really was like everything was purposeful, everything had a reason to it, like every framing to help build the suspense as much as possible. And it seemed that way, and it actually was that way, you know, after watching those behind the scenes and seeing David's process as he went about making this movie. And there's also, so they do a lot of the effects in this movie practically. That's like a big thing that they tried to do as often as they could, but occasionally you got to use a bit of VFX, and I think that it was extremely impressive. A lot of the stuff that was VFX I didn't realize was. Like some of it I knew had to be. Like there's one point where someone's hand is getting like messed up a little, and it's very clearly like that have to be VFX how they made it, but it still looked extremely realistic. And there's a lot of small things in the movie, like there's some like writing on a wall, and a few other little things, I'm trying to not give anything away, where I looked so real, and so I had no idea that it wasn't like a genuine shot that they did on that day. So that was really impressive to me, because I think that is honestly some of the most impressive VFX work is the stuff that you don't even notice and you wouldn't even think about. So I was really happy that I got to see that behind the scenes and learn that some of those shots that I would have never guessed were VFX, I totally would have thought would have been practical, were actually VFX, and to see that extra work went into it and how well they did it. And some of the stuff even David did himself, because he has a lot of training with that from when he made his own short films by himself. They also had like a full team that they worked with, which you'll see in the behind the scenes, but it was really impressive to me to see the amount of work and all the different attention to detail that they had in this movie, and it really showed whenever you watched it, because everything was just so purposeful. There was never a moment in this film that was unnecessary. And while everything in this movie does a great job of building up that fear of it, it also has a really great emotional backbone to it. There's a lot between the family members and their relationship with each other. I mean, I actually got watery-eyed at one point. No tears fell, but you know, a little bit of water started to form in one scene in the movie. It was really well done, but it also made me jump so many times. I was just like, ugh, I was so tense for like almost the entire movie. The movie is really short though. It's only 1 hour and 21 minutes, and I was extremely impressed at how much they were able to fit into that 1 hour 21 minutes. I know the one thing that a lot of people had problems with in this movie is the explanation, the backstory of the monster. That's what we'll call it for this video to not spoil anything. It's not like the perfect term for it, but it gets the job done. But the monster, and it gets like a full backstory that explains where it came from, what it is, etc. And I thought that it added to the story as well because it made it feel more real. But I know some other people like Sri really thought that it detracted from the movie because they're like, I want it to just be some sort of unknown like demon or, you know, ghost or whatever, something I don't understand what it is. They thought that that would be more scary. But to me, knowing exactly its source, where it came from, I think that it amplified the horror of it. But I can see the point for the other one because unknown, the fear of the unknown is an extremely powerful tool to help, you know, elicit fear in people. So I can understand why some people feel that that would be more impactful, and maybe it would have been, maybe I'm wrong. But I personally felt like having that backstory added to it and actually made me a little bit more scared of what was going on. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this film. It made me extremely scared, made me a little emotional at times, and it also made me want to clap at how smart these characters were, which is always something that I love in a horror movie. I feel like those are always the best horror movies, are the ones where people make good choices. So with all that being said, it is time for our shark rating. So I don't like this movie personally because it scared me too much. I know that really contradicts everything I've said in this video. I really love this movie as a filmmaker. I'm like, this is so cool. It was so well made. Everything was put together so well. The story was told so eloquently. Like it all works. The acting was great. And so I really love it as a filmmaker, but as an audience member, it scared me too much, and I don't like being scared. I don't know why I'm doing all these horror movie reviews, but I'm enjoying it. I have a very love-hate relationship with horror movies because they are my favorite type of movie to make. And so I also really like watching them for the analysis portion of it, but then they scare me so much that I don't like it. It's a little conflicting. We really have a complicated relationship, me and horror movies. I think I've said that before. Despite all that, whenever it comes to this shark rating, I was trying to decide where to put it, and I almost wanted to put in Tiger Shark just because because it scared me too much. So like for how much I liked it, but I think that this movie was too well made to be put into Tiger Shark, so it will be getting a great white shark rating, just because every single part of it was so exceptionally well made. I really enjoyed it. Let me know what shark rating you guys think it should be in. If you've seen it or go watch it, come back and let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, that is all I have to say about the 2016 film Lights Out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and again, a special thank you to our sponsor, The Coldest Water. So, thank you all again so much for watching. Hope you all are staying safe out there and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!